Yo, it's Shin, and I'm here with Creative Masterminds.
And what do you do, brother?
I'm a photographer, videographer.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I want to get the beginning stages of your life, brother. So how was your upbringing like?
My upbringing was great, man. Living on the north side of Atlanta, Sandy Springs to Alpharetta. My mom and dad, they always uplifted me and encouraged me to keep going after my craft.
Beautiful, beautiful. I know coming from the north side, you didn't have too many obstacles that you had to overcome, but a major obstacle that you had to overcome was cancer. So, brother, tell me about that process.
Correct, man. It was honestly, a blessing in disguise, man. It showed me, how short life can be, and to not take life for granted, man. Live every day like, it's your last.
And in your process of surviving cancer, was there ever a time creativity helped you?
Honestly, back in that time, I wasn't really into photography or anything like that. I was still very young. I got diagnosed when I was in third grade. And I went through chemo for about, I want to say 4 years. And I met a lot of cool people. Also went to a camp called Camp Sunshine. So it was great and that camp is basically for kids who have cancer or who have illnesses that are similar to cancer. And it basically just brings us all together, and so we can meet like-minded kids that are going through the same challenges and struggles that, I was going through.
Well, blessings, brother. I'm happy you made it through it.
I appreciate that, brother.
So when did you get your first camera?
I got my first camera when I was in 8th grade, man. It was a gift. It was a Christmas gift, actually, from my dad. I actually wanted to get into vlogs and, little things like that. I think we all wanted to go that route, or a lot of us wanted to go that route, when we were younger. But I never recorded myself, which is funny. I always just took pictures of, myself and my family. And it's also funny too, because my dad used to run a vape business. For people who are a little older, a lot of people, when vaping first started coming out, a lot of people were taking pictures of, the little juice bottles and the vapes and stuff like that. So seeing him, take pictures of that, and it just intrigued me. And a few of the shoots, he had me actually take some photos of him. He liked them, and I was like, oh, I think I can actually do something with this camera.
So would you say he was the reason you began this journey?
That's a great question, man. He's definitely one of the main reasons, for sure. I mean, he got me my first camera and, set me up for greatness.
So was there anybody you ever looked up to as a mentor, or any big photographers or anything?
Not really, man. Not really, to be honest. I was just going on YouTube. YouTube University is where it's at. But like you said, I like, now that you say that, I guess my dad is really the whole reason I really got into photography and, chased that dream.
I know it may be early in the interview, but what's the end goal in your photography, if there is?
The end goal, I'm actually going to start my own media marketing company. I have a few shooters that I'm trying to get together right now. That way, once I have a few more retainer clients, I can have them go out and shoot for me, and then I'll basically just chop everything up.
So you trying to be big boss?
Yes, sir.
Boss, trying to delegate a little while.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how is that process looking at this moment?
It's going good, man. Honestly, once I lock in, probably about 2 more retainer clients, I'm definitely going to need them. I won't have as much time on my hands to just go out to all these locations, all my clients.
For another photographer trying to get some retainer clients, how did that process begin?
I'm gonna be honest, bro. It's a funny story. Probably maybe about 3 years ago, I was just cold DMing a lot of clothing brands, and there was one that hit me back, and he was from Atlanta. Um, and we met up. We did a whole bunch of shoots together. He was telling me that he was trying to go to dental school and open up his own practice one day. And then he ended up telling me a few weeks later, like, yo, I just opened this event space. It's called Garage on Huff. And he had me come out, and I was basically just filming all of his events. They were doing R&B nights. So basically, they'd have really dope music, awesome people, bro. Everybody just there for a vibe. No one on bullshit. Sorry, I don't know if I can cuss.
You good, bro. No, you all
No one
good.
on bullshit, bro. Like, everybody's, just trying to have a good time and, just have a good time together. But that ended up coming to an end of, I want to say, a month or two later. And then, we kind of fell off, I want to say for maybe a year or two. And I got a random phone call from him one day. It was the most random thing ever. And something told me to just pick up. So I picked that phone up, and he told me, like, yo, I finally opened up my own practice, and I want you to become our full-time shooter. And once he told me that, my whole perspective on everything just changed, man. At the time, I was working at Amazon for a year and a half. And I told myself I was only going to be there for 6 months. I realized that the amount of work I was putting in for somebody else, if I were to put that much work into my craft and my business, I could really take off and get somewhere.
Oh, I love that. That's a great segue. So what would you tell another photographer trying to get to that point?
I would say know your worth, man. It's cool to charge a couple bucks, here and there, especially, for friends or for people who are trying to start up a business. That's cool, but, at the end of the day, business is business. You're not going to elevate yourself unless you know your worth. So charge what you know your worth, man.
And I know at the beginning you didn't know your worth completely. So what
Correct.
was the turning point in your process, in your career, that made you find your worth?
Honestly, man, probably locking in Eastside Dental Group. Once I locked them in, for a certain amount a month, I realized, wow, like if I can lock in, 4 more clients, not to brag or anything, but I could be making 10K a month.
So did you think at the beginning when you were doing the $10 photo shoots and $50 photo shoots that you were going to get to the 10K month?
I did, but when you're charging that little amount, it's very hard to see that. And I wish I would have, saw my worth sooner. But at the same time, you can't go back in time. You can only go forward. And now I'm still only 22, so I still got a few years to go.
Beautiful. So what would you tell somebody that's beginning the process? How do they find their worth in themselves?
Really just experience, man. Like, you can't go out and, start charging people thousands of dollars when you don't really know what you're doing. Until you're comfortable with, your gear and your settings, especially lighting. Lighting is everything, man. You have to start little, but then once you are comfortable, that's when the price needs to go up.
Beautiful, beautiful. So me watching you from high school, I've seen the quality of your pictures change. What changed from high school to now?
I would say it's not always your gear, bro, but I would 100% say getting a strobe light. Once I got a strobe light, or what they call it as a flash, most people know it as a flash. Once I got a flash, then I honestly took off from there, bro.
Beautiful. So using that flash and using all the different equipment you had, did that change your aesthetic of your pictures at all?
For sure, 100%. And now I honestly rely on my flash a lot. I actually did just go to my cousin's wedding the other day, and I was actually shooting natural light photos, and it honestly I realized that working with that flash, I can work with natural light photos a lot better now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Was it hard for you to find your niche in aesthetic in photography, because there's all these different types of ways you can shoot?
Correct. Yeah, man. It's definitely been a experience and a journey for sure. You know, I feel like a lot of people are trying to do the same thing. However, once I figured out, you know, the settings that I prefer, and also, you know, the good responses that I was getting back from my clients, I realized that this is the way that I want to edit and have my videos be portrayed, if you will.
Beautiful. I'm happy you said that you got good feedback. What about the times when you got bad feedback from your work?
Honestly, man, like, I can probably count on my hands how many times I've had bad feedback. Not to sound arrogant or anything, but I think I've always been pretty decent. I think I've always had a good eye. My grandma always said I had a great eye for things. Yeah, I mean, I really hadn't had any too bad feedback, and I think that's what really pushed me, you know, to keep going and elevate my craft even more.
So even though you didn't have terrible feedback at any time too much, was there ever a time that you were discouraged in your process and you wanted to quit?
For sure. I mean, going back to when I was in college, you know, I was working with a lot of clothing brands, and that's all I really worked with. I didn't work with any businesses at all. And I was probably charging like $50 to $100 a shoot, which was cool. But, you know, I realized that it wasn't paying the bills, man. And I was struggling. I was a struggling artist. And it's cool to be an artist, but it's not cool to be a struggling artist, especially when, you know, this is your main hustle. And that was my main hustle. But seeing, you know, me living basically check to check and barely even making it, it was very discouraging. I honestly wanted to give up. However, I knew that I loved what I was doing. You know, for anybody who is trying to get into this business, I would 100% say do your craft, but also have a 9-to-5. There's nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5. You rather have a 9-to-5 than be broke.
So I know you said you quit your 9-to-5.
Correct.
What made you want to just take that leap? Because that's a scary thing. You said you struggled before. It wasn't paying the bills before. So why quit that job not knowing if it was going to work out or not?
I was actually smart with it, man. Like once I locked in Eastside Dental Group, and I had them on a retainer, I was making already what I was making at Amazon. So, you know, in my head, I'm like, man, if I lock in, I already have this dental group. If I lock in 2 more businesses, then I'll be making double than what I was making before.
What would you tell the photographer that's about to give up right now?
I would tell them to keep going. However, if you're not getting good feedback, then I would take a step back and I would listen to that feedback. You know, why are you not getting booked? Why are you getting this negative feedback? Is it your lighting? Is it your settings? Is it your gear? You know, you always want to listen to your clients and your clientele.
Do you feel like with the work you're doing, you can inspire people?
For sure. I actually like, you know, the niche that I'm in right now. I wouldn't even say that I'm in a niche, to be honest. I like to shoot everything, man. And I know a lot of photographers and videographers, content creators in general say that you need to have a specific niche, which at a certain point, that is true. But at the same time, if you like to shoot all aspects of the craft, why not shoot all aspects, especially if you're making good money?
So with that being said, you don't feel like you have to be put in one box.
No, not at all, man. And I know a lot of, creatives are gonna disagree with me, but I think it's good to be versatile. That way, for any scene or setting, you know what to do. Yeah, I feel like it's amazing and great to be versatile.
Okay. I think we have a lot of great questions, great answers, brother. I just want to end it off with talk to that third grade you when that was going through cancer. Talk to that person. What advice or what motivation would you give to that person?
To little me, man, I would say to keep going and to always see the light at the end of the tunnel and to not give up and be strong, man. You're always going to be put in difficult situations, but it's about how you navigate those difficult situations. Are you going to give up or are you going to keep going?
To all of the photographers out there that's trying to get where you are or even to surpass you, what would you tell them as well?
I would say keep grinding, man. If you have any idea that you want to shoot, go ahead and do it now. Procrastination is, the worst thing that can happen to a creator. If you procrastinate on an idea, you might not be able to do it later. If you can do it now, go ahead and start shooting.
Lovely. And is there anything that you want to leave off with, brother?
Peace and love, man.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. And follow me on Instagram at ShinShotIt.
Love it. Y'all go book them.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.